Okay, I'm here at Intuit with Reiss Simmons, who is one of the talent leaders for EMA at Intuit. Reiss, could you, before we start, just give a little introduction to yourself and your role here at Intuit, and maybe a little bit about your journey coming in?
Sure. So, as you said, I'm one of the recruiters here at Intuit, and I support predominantly the EMEA region. But through my 3.5 years at Intuit, I've also supported pretty much every market outside of the US. So Intuit is a global business. We have offices all over the world, and I've supported them with the recruiting of that. So prior to my being at Intuit, I actually worked for a technology company, a startup tech company that was based in California and had offices here in the UK, growing across Europe. So I supported them, and then prior to that worked for an external recruitment company where I kind of learned my craft in recruitment and talent acquisition.
Okay, so look, the talent world is quite a fast-moving environment, and there's lots of change going on at the moment in that environment. What do you see as the most prominent things that concern Intuit and that you're working on currently?
So I think some big areas of opportunity, if you will, for the whole market around diversity in terms of people to bring on board, and that's not necessarily just male, female, that's all across different backgrounds, different skill sets, but it's also, I think, attracting the right people. The market has shifted significantly in the last few years from a very business sort of led market where people had the selection of candidates and people to hire, moving more to actually a very candidate-driven market where any top quality candidate now will have 3 or 4 offers on the table from the top businesses in the market. So I think the real test for businesses in sort of current times is finding the right people for them and then attracting them in the competitive market space. That's probably the major sort of transitions we've come across amongst some things.
One of the things that have attracted ACT to work with Intuit is the way that you look at talent in a different way and attract talent from different areas. Where do you see the new program that's about to be launched with ACT and bringing athletes into the Intuit environment? Where do you see that sitting in your talent strategy for the UK, and how do you see it growing?
Yeah, so this is really exciting for us because working with you guys at ACT is opening up an entire talent pool that we in the past haven't really looked into. So we have, and we assess based on key skills and values. So our recruitment methodology is not necessarily based on people having this industry experience or 10 years of something or other experience. We look now very much for core traits and skills that will mean someone has the right capability for a position. We train all of those other aspects around the role specific. However, even then we're using traditional methods to find the right people. And one of those talent pools we weren't exploring fully is professional athletes. And obviously there's real, I suppose, similarities between that high performance environment that athletes are coming from, that discipline, that routine, that structure, to certain positions within industry, particularly in our organisation. So what we're really excited for is working with you guys to bring on board 3 people to join within the sales organisation. Really see that the high performance piece, the really structured environment could fit really well into the training and the onboarding that we've brought out with our sales team. In terms of growth, I think this is just the start. I think this is a more sort of natural step for athletes into sort of sales roles based on those similarities mentioned. But I think as we look at the UK business and Intuit across kind of EMEA, we're growing massively, we're growing across the globe. This is just the beginning of opening avenues across all areas of the business. I think this is something we definitely will continue working with you guys in the future and hopefully continue seeing success with.
You mentioned a couple of the attributes that athletes possess and the characteristics that they developed through their years in sports. And at ACT, we look very closely at an environment, business environment, so that we can match some of those characteristics and traits to that. Behind us, you can see some of the values of Intuit. Do you want to talk us through a few of those, not in too much detail, but as a broader sort of aspect, and why those are important to this environment and how they actually work?
Yeah, really, really good question. And I think a lot of organisations these days, a lot of companies have company values. But sometimes this can be more of just on the careers page, more lip service. Intuit, we have the 6 kind of key values and then 2 overarching values, and these have been part of the business since our founding years, so 35 years ago. So these are kind of principles that Scott Cook, our founder, really instilled in the business. They're always kind of with us. Everybody is held accountable to them. So I'll give you examples that we interview people and look for them to demonstrate our values. So right at the beginning of the process, when we bring people on to Intuit, we're kind of assessing against the values to see if they're going to be that right cultural fit. Performance review at the end of the year, we align against the values. Any sort of promotions and working around that, we align against the values. Even our internal bonusing system, where you can kind of reward colleagues, it's tied to what area of the values did they excel in. So, for example, you've got some of the more cheesier ones, forgive us, we're an American-based organisation, but deliver awesome. And that really is us striving that good is never good enough. Our CEO, Brad Smith, talks around always being constructively dissatisfied, which I love the kind of the wording on, but it's always to excel in everything we do, even if it's just something small. We want to do it in the best way possible. It doesn't have to be a huge project we deliver phenomenally. It could be all the little pieces. Be passionate, be decisive. This is all around loving what you do, making quick decisions. But then you've got the 2 overarching values, so integrity without compromise. As an organisation, we're working closely with financial information of our customers. We're working very closely with lots of detailed information. Integrity as a business model is something that we have to demonstrate in every capacity. And then finally, we care, we give back. As an organisation, as individuals generally, we're in a good position. So we feel an ownership to give back to the community, support in any way we can. So last year, the UK alone did over 900, nearly 1,000 actually, 992 hours of We Care, We Give Back, supporting local charities here in the UK and here in London. Yeah. But yeah, just high level some values.
Yeah. Well, those values really align themselves with the values of the majority of professional sportsmen and women. And, we've looking very closely at your environment and how you will support new people coming into the business. Given that there's a new program about to be started with ACT, bringing athletes into the business, what can an athlete expect on their first couple of weeks, first month, and how is the support network around that athlete going to look?
Yeah, so first week, we definitely like to bring people in and kind of have a gentle start to kind of get them up to speed. So I'd say the first week you're looking very much around getting set up, simple things, getting set up with system access, kind of meeting the teams, going through the kind of Intuit story, the values that we talked through, an overview about the kind of roles and the different partners in the business they'd be working with. As you kind of look to move on, this is where we have built out a really structured onboarding program within our sales organisation that ties into our sales playbook, which we built to kind of highlight the competencies needed in each role. But also the onboarding will give them all the information around our industry, the knowledge they need to be successful in their role. So it's all aligned to helping them be the best they can in their role and set them up for success, predominantly following the sort of method that in the first few weeks they'll be very much learning. And you're looking at the kind of second month period, that's where they're kind of putting their learning into place, working with other members of the team and shadowing, and then on to that sort of 9-day period where they'll be pretty much in the ground running and kind of leading on. But training doesn't stop. We believe in very much ongoing and constant development. So it's not a matter of you just finished your onboarding and you ramp up and then that's it. We're constantly developing people, constantly growing. So regular kind of touch points and training through the year.
That's fantastic. And as you've highlighted, there's a lot of knowledge that will be passed from the business to the athlete. But transversely, what do you think athletes will bring to the Intuit environment?
Yeah, so we're really excited to obviously bring in people from different backgrounds. I think it's going to drive a nice blend of skills that we've never seen in the business, but actually also personality traits. And you know, if you think about these professionals competing at a world-class level, you know, the discipline, the exposure they have, the stories they can tell. You know, we're really excited to see like how people in our business actually will gravitate towards that and level up everybody across the business. So you find when, this is what we always strive to do, is when you're bringing in like world-class talent, no matter what background, is that generally speaking it levels up everybody in the business. So we're really excited to see that kind of gravitating effect and the stories that they tell. One of the things that we do when you join Intuit is you do a fun fact when you join, so I'm sure these individuals will have a lot of options to pick from, and great fun facts.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, what one piece of advice will you give to an athlete walking through the door with Intuit?
So I would say Intuit is an organisation where you can really bring your whole self to work. And I think my impression of our businesses is, or at least the impression I've had from speaking to you guys, is that that's not always the case in other environments. So my advice to them would be to show up exactly as who they are. Their skills will get them through the door, and the skills they have, they're transferable. You know, they're not starting at the bottom rung. You know, this is an environment where they can bring all of their skills that they've built through their career in sport, and just with adjusting those, can apply those in the environment here, and then go on to be world class here and be top performers here. So, you know, my advice: bring your whole self in. You know, bring the skills that they have. You know, just come in sort of open arms, really.
Reiss Simmons, talent leader at Intuit, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.